Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what our new kitchen looks like. The credit goes mostly to my wife because she pretty much put everything together as far as where everything was going to go and what it was going to look like. And a big thanks to our friend Junior, who is a carpentry finisher, meaning that he doesn't really build houses, but that he does the stuff on the interior. He put the cabinets in, the countertops, he did the finishing work on the tile, etc., etc. But this is what it looks like, and today we're going to go over how you can eat for real cheap. Times are tough, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to get tougher. And the sooner that you can learn how to cook just basic things and be able to cook and prep on the cheap, the better off that you will be. Because in the end, ladies and gentlemen, we all need to eat. Let me show you what I've got here and what we're going to make today. As you can see here, we're going to use a couple of cups of rice. It can be whatever rice you like. In this case, I'm using Calrose rice, and I'm going to be tallying everything up and putting the price of everything in the upper left-hand corner so we can see what all of this is going to cost us in the end. I'm going to use probably about a quarter of this stick of butter. Use whatever butter you like, salted or unsalted. It's up to your preference, ladies and gentlemen. And here we have a couple of cans of chicken that I purchased at Costco a while back. These cans just happen to be dented, so we're going to go ahead and use these first. I was going to use a fresh chicken, but these cans will do, and it comes out to about the same price anyways. We're going to use about a pound of burger and anywhere between 10 to 20 tortillas, depending on how much stuffing we can make. You can use whatever legumes you want, but for one of the stuffings, we're going to use these kidney beans, which are packed, ladies and gentlemen, with protein. These go a long way, along with these black beans, just because I really like black beans. Same thing with these. These have about 7 grams of protein each, which is a great complement to the rice that we're going to make. The second kind of stuffing that we're going to make, we're going to use these pinto beans that I pressure can here about 2 years ago or so. Well, a little more than 2 years, in March of 2022. We're going to use half of a medium size to a large size onion. We're going to chop it up nice and fine. We're going to use this powder right here that I've had for a very long time. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this tomato powder is about 49 years old, and it's still good. Check out the video in the upper right hand corner for when I open the number 10 can of this tomato powder. And we're going to finish up the lineup, ladies and gentlemen, with some basic spices, some adobo, some garlic powder, some black pepper, some sazon that Evita sent to me to try out. She makes this herself. All right, so let's get started with this cooking on the cheap. I may come in and out of this video with voice ins, but I'm going to try to leave in as much of the original as possible. It was obviously a little bit noisy while I was making this food, so let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to cook is going to be our rice. We have 4 cups of water in here, and we have 2 cups of rice. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to go ahead and start our burner. We're going to put in about a half a teaspoon or so of salt. Going to throw in roughly 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon, about 1 tablespoon or so of oil. We're going to stir it around. And let it come to a boil. Okay, once your rice is boiling, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and give it a stir. You want to turn this one off. We're going to turn on our smallest burner right here and put it at the lowest setting. Right there. Cover it. And then we're going to go ahead and start 25-minute timer. And now that we are done with the rice for now, let's go ahead and prep our beef. So we're going to cook our beef in here, but first we're going to go ahead and cut half of this onion for this. And we're just going to cook them until they're sweated through, and then we're going to add our beef in there. I just remembered that putting a little garlic in there is going to make it much tastier, so let's put a nice tablespoon of that in there. Alright, there we go. Okay. Now we're going to put our burger in there. And this burger is from a local ranch that delivers up to Fairbanks. I've got my spices prepared here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to tell you how much to use because you may use different measures as far as how much meat or rice you're cooking. But I've got about a teaspoon of each spice in here, with the exception of the tomato crystals, which I have roughly 2 tablespoons of. Let that all cook in here for a couple of minutes. And then we will add our pinto beans to this. Okay, we're going to make these with pinto beans, and then the second batch we're going to make with chicken and black beans and kidney beans. Now let's go ahead and open up our pinto beans, and let's shake them up first. Make sure they're going to come out of there easy. Right? Very nice seal. I hope you heard that. Now let's go ahead and open up our lid to the meat. And I like how it has this little juice. See a little juice from the fat? And then we're going to add a little more liquid from our pinto beans. I really like that because when we go ahead and mix this up with our rice for the filling, where that rice is going to pick up and absorb all of that flavor. Okay, so let's put that right there. And I guess you can kind of like call this a chili. Time is up for the rice. So now that our timer went off, and I literally caught that about 1 second before it went off. So let's go ahead and turn off our burner. And now we can go ahead and grab this rice. And this is what your rice should look like, ladies and gentlemen. Now this is the sticky rice, okay? I like the sticky rice better for burritos. In general, I like the sticky rice better, right? But for burritos, I like it better because it goes in there and it kind of like molds into whatever you want to make it. But this rice is perfectly cooked. We're going to go ahead and put it aside until we need to blend it in with the 2 fillings that we're making for our burritos. For the chicken filling, I decided to add a little bit of sofrito to it. If you haven't seen my video on how I make my own sofrito, check out the upper right hand corner. And the reason is because chicken doesn't really have as much natural flavor, in my opinion, as beef does. So we're going to help it along with a tablespoon of sofrito. Now the chicken is already cooked, obviously. It's coming from a can, so I'm not going to bother sweating onions or anything like that. I'm just going to go ahead and put everything in there in one shot. And pretty much all we're doing here is just warming everything up. And there you go, easy as that. Just be careful you don't make a mess if you use a smaller pan like I'm using. And hopefully you've been keeping tally of what all of this stuff costs in your area. That way you know how much it'll cost for you to make this type of a meal. Now obviously every place is a little different. Here in Alaska, for example, a 6-pack of the Kirkland chicken breast is about 16 bucks. So for 2 of these cans, you're looking at about, I don't know, a little over $5, $5.30, 33 cents. But if you remember, looking at my previous payday preps that I've done in the past, I bought these cans of chicken for a lot less than what they're selling for now. Remember when they used to be like less than 10 bucks for a 6-pack? Well, those days are gone, ladies and gentlemen. But you can still save money and guarantee that you can eat for a specific amount of time, depending on how long you want to prep for, by stocking up on things now, because they are going to be a lot more expensive in the future than they are now. Now all we have to do is put about half of the rice in here. And I can tell you already, ladies and gentlemen, that we could have cooked 4 cups of rice, and that still may not have been enough for all of the fillings that we made. And one thing that I didn't show, which might be a bit pricey for some people depending on where you live, is that we're going to also put some cheese in here, because the cheese not only would it hold it together when it's in the form of a burrito, but it's just really tasty. And that right there looks like a pretty good ratio of rice to the meat filling. So we're going to go ahead and put this aside. Let me see if I can find a different bowl. If not, we'll just use the pot itself to go ahead and mix the rice with the chicken filling. And this is how much beef filling we have left, ladies and gentlemen. So we have enough to make just as much as we already made with the other filling and rice that we made. Look at that. That's pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the leftovers together of the beef and the chicken, and we can make a big batch like that. I bet you that'll be good. Or maybe we can make some bowls, some rice bowls. Now I'm going to put the cheese in after the fact, after I've got both of these, the chicken and the beef done. And I don't want the cheese to melt completely, because it'll make it kind of a pain in the butt to dig out of there. I'll put the cheese in there, and when you microwave it or heat it up, whatever way you heat it up, it's going to end up melting that cheese and holding everything together, and you're going to be able to handle it with one hand instead of 2. And those 2 cans of chicken didn't seem like a lot of chicken, but it really is a good amount of chicken. You're getting almost a full pound of actual chicken out of that can. Out of those 2 cans, you get like 14 ounces, I do believe, altogether. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, if you're one of those people that does a OMAD, or 1 meal a day, one of these burritos that we're going to make will probably serve you pretty well. You know, for 1 meal a day, or maybe in the morning you can have some oatmeal or just some eggs, and then finish off your day with something like this, you know, for dinner time or supper time, and it should do you pretty well. It looks like we're going to use a little more of the chicken fill than we did the beef. Now this right here, you can go ahead and cook yourself another 2 cups of rice, and you can mix it in with this and just make rice bowls with these. You know, wrap them up with some saran wrap, or put them in sealable bowls, and there you go. There's another, I would say, 7 or so dinners. All right, now we're going to go ahead and add the cheese to this before we start building our burritos. And you can see that it's still a little bit hot. It's not steaming hot as it was before. And that's kind of like what we want. I mean, that's what works for me. You can put any cheese that you want to put in here, ladies and gentlemen. So you don't have to specifically put Mexican cheese or mozzarella or cheddar. Whatever makes you happy, that's what it takes. Right there. And that cheese, if you buy it at Costco, 2.5 pound containers or bags, comes out to like, I think it's like 13-14 bucks. So we're probably going to use a total of about a quarter of 1 bag. So I would say altogether, let's say $3, maybe $5 worth of cheese. So I mean, right now, if you tally everything up, it's really not that much for all of the food that you see that I'm making. And it's one of the reasons why I tell young people that before they leave home, make sure that you know how to cook, because you can make a lot of food on the cheap when you know how to cook just basic things. I always put too much filling in it, but let's try it. So we're gonna go like this. And there you go. I guess that's good enough, right? We're going to put them back here. And as we go on, we'll probably make it a little bit easier. Let's see how much this one right here will take. Look at that. Wow. Bam. Come on, man. You got to be kidding me. This is going to be awesome. This made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 burritos, ladies and gentlemen. Now look at these burritos. Look at this. This is a $6, $7 burrito in any gas station. At least up here it is. Because I remember seeing some burritos that were about half the size of this for about $5. But not only that, you made this and you know what's inside of it instead of the junk that they put in it wherever you may buy them from, right? Now let's go ahead and make the burritos for the other filling. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We ended up making 7 burritos of the beef filling as well. And you may be asking yourselves one question, because there's one ingredient that we still have not used. I know, ladies and gentlemen, to some of you this may seem like it's a little too much, but take a little bit of butter, get those on each side till it's nice and brown. Then we'll let them cool off. And then once they've cooled off, we can wrap them up for the freezer. And this is obviously not a step that you have to take, but my wife makes these little tacos like this, and they come out very, very delicious. And while we're doing that, take a look at what I'm doing over here. Doing another batch of rice so that we can use the rest of that meat mixture, and we're probably just going to make some bowls with this. The same thing minus the tortillas. And I'll go ahead and do this with all of the burritos we have there, so I've got 7 more rounds of doing the same thing right here. Because we ended up with 14 burritos altogether. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you can get by on 2 of these burritos a day, which I think anyone can because there's a lot of food right here, that's 1 full week's worth of food for a measly price of about, take a look at here on the screen. I'm going to figure out about how much each of these burritos cost. Now, that's not bad. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we got. Check it out. 14 full size, I would say extra large burritos. This is one of the ones that was broken, but check this out. Does that look delicious or what? I mean, you can still put some salsa in here. Look at that. Look at that stretch. Is that awesome or what? Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in. I hope you get something out of this. Again, I don't know as of now, I'm making this video, how much it costs to make all of this food, but I've been tallying it up and putting it up on the screen for you. But here is the total that it cost me to make this food. And of course, remember that I'm not tallying in the little bit of propane that I used in order to heat the food and all that kind of stuff. You can come up with that amount on your own, but I'm pretty sure that it's negligible. So learn how to cook, especially with the preps that you have, just in case. But learn how to cook, especially because you're going to save a lot of money instead of going out, and you're going to eat a lot better. Having said that, I hope that you have a great day. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Purper. I am out.